Elliot here from the Bear Pit TV, bringing you the transfer show live, but it's going to be a quiet one because not much seems to be happening for Stoke. For a squad that's been depleted, John Walters, Glenn Whelan, Phil Bardsley, Arnautovic all going, it seems that we've got some holes in the squad and we need to sort of fix them fast. But at the minute, we are unusually quiet. You know that when we're having to post stories about Jermaine Pennant joining Billericay Town. So, there's not much going on. There's not much to report. Darren Fletcher did come out the other day and say that he's expecting a few to come in, but he does think we've got a strong enough side for the first weekend of the season when we face Everton. Now, that does, again, we're not hearing great things. It was sort of great PR from the club at the minute. Mark Hughes came out the other day and said he doesn't think we're going to have a big amount to spend on one player, and also that he doesn't expect us to be throwing any large fees about. And also, everyone is already going mad on the questions, but do fire in any questions or your thoughts on the transfer window so far. And we've only got 2 weeks until the start of the season now. Even if we do make a few signings, it's not a great deal of time to start bedding those players in. So there is a bit of a worry and a bit of concern for some fans, and I think it is genuine, but not everyone's doom mongering. It's just genuine concerns. Let's have a look at some of your questions. Bradley Plant says, where do you think we'll finish this season? Can't really give an accurate prediction on that until we do see who we do get in. Another story that's been rumbling on has been, of course, Fabian Delph as well from Manchester City. It seems they're holding out for around 13 or 14 million pounds, and we're only willing to pay 10, which again goes back to us trying to maybe save pennies here and there. It happened with the Bruno deal. We had the option to buy, and we seemed to pass on that option to try and sign him for a smaller fee at a later date, which didn't go too well, seeing as though he's still in Mexico with Porto in their pre-season training. Again, we're going to be sure if we keep with that attitude going into transfers. It does seem like Delph will come in at some point, but it's what fee can they finally agree on. Going to have a look at some more of your comments now. Wayne Cartledge says it's typical, no large fees, nothing new there. Stephen Hubbard says we need 2 new fullbacks in Indy and we will be fine. I think we need a bit more than fullbacks and Indy. I think we've already got rid of Glenn Whelan, and Bula could also be leaving. That means a central midfielder. Arnautovic and John Walters means we're pretty light in attack. So I think we need a little more than some fullbacks and a centre back. Luke Cope says we're letting players out, but who's coming in? That's a great point. That's the whole point of this stream. Who knows? We're very, very quiet. We're not even being linked to anyone in the papers. There's not even articles from The Sun or untrustworthy news sources linking us to players. There's nothing at all. Anthony Ashby says it's a terrible window so far. Lucas Marshall says fed up with the transfer news. Thank God we have Shaq, the Messi he is. And I think Lucas Marshall is there referring to a news story that's come out today where Darren Fletcher's compared Shaq to Lionel Messi in training. I'm not sure what we can take from that. Maybe we've got the Swiss Messi in our ranks, but we'd like to see a lot more from it this season. I do think this is going to be a big season for Shaqiri. He seemed to be performing pretty well in the pre-season friendlies. I think he's been consistent. He hasn't dropped out in any of these games with injuries or had to come off, which is unlike him. And hopefully we can see a lot more consistency from Shaqiri this season. And with Arnautovic leaving, there's a big shoes to fill there. He's sort of our standout marquee player now. So hopefully he can step up this season and produce what we all know he can. We all know he can produce some beautiful goals. Jim Allsop says, nice top hanging up, mate. Yeah, that's Shaqiri top, signed by him as well. I don't know if you can all see that. And is he a good player, Shaqiri? Well, I think we've just covered that. Chris Falk is anything about Delph. I did just say, but I'll recap for anyone who missed. It does seem like we're quabbling over the fee. We want to go in at 10 million, but Man City are after closer to 13 or 14 million. I'm not sure about Delph. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I'm not sure about Delph. He hasn't played regularly for Man City. He's getting on. He's 28 years old. He's not a young player anymore. And he hasn't played for a couple of seasons regularly. Do we persist with Mbula instead? I'm not too sure. I don't know which way that one will go. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments. Basher Walsh says, do you think Tyrese Campbell should be given a chance as he's scoring a lot for the under-23s? The under-23s is a completely different kettle of fish. I'd rather see Ngoy and Verlinden and Edwards probably get a few more games in pre-season so we can then judge and see how they do in those, because Verlinden has looked bright, looked very bright this pre-season. He's probably the young player that I'm most excited about going into the season. I do hope that we can see a lot more from him. Obviously, Mark Hughes says one of the main factors that Phil Bardsley was leaving was that Tom Edwards has looked so good. So hopefully we get to see a lot more of him this season. I don't know if we also still need to buy another right back or not. I'm not too sure about that. It depends how much he's going to trust him, if I'm being honest. Elliot Conlon says, would you give Ryan an extension? I would give Ryan an extension. I think he deserves it. I know he's been a bit wobbly in the past couple pre-season games. The one at Sheffield was an absolutely diabolical error. But again, it is pre-season. People are just getting up to speed. And Ryan is our captain. I'd like to see him stay. But we are getting into a difficult territory with Ryan. He's only got a year. His deal runs out next summer. So we need to tie something up quick, or people will start be in his ear about signing it on for free for them next summer. Andrew Miles says, don't mention the snake. His name cannot be uttered anymore. Let's have a look at some more of your comments. Ben Ellie says, where has all the Arnie money gone? Tony Scholes came out this week and said that we will spend every penny that we make from transfer sales. So, hopefully we are behind the scenes. A lot's going on. There's a lot of players that we're looking for, a lot of things we're looking into, a lot of deals, obviously everything. There's a lot of moving parts in the transfer window. Hopefully something's going on, we hope. Stuart Austin says we need to get with the programme, we need to pay what needs paying, or we'll end up fighting too far down. Come on, Stoke. I completely agree with that, Stuart, and I think the Delph situation, also the Bruno Martins Indy situation could have been resolved a lot quicker. We could have these players in right now. We could have them in pre-season, moulding, gelling with the team ahead of the season, which starts in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, that is not a lot of time at all. And we've only got 4 pre-season games left for the first team. Or is it 3? 3 if you take away the Crew game, which seems like it will be the youngsters. Obviously, we've got Bolton tomorrow, then it'll be St. Pauli midweek next week, and Leipzig, our last game in Germany next weekend. We will be there in Leipzig, so make sure you do give us a shout if you are there and if you are going. Let's have a look at some more of your comments. Dave Bratt says, we're in Mexico now. Should we look for some players? If you're in Mexico, Dave, go and try and find Porto's training complex, their training ground, and go and give Bruno a kick up the arse and say, can you come and get to Stoke and try and push a deal through? Let's have a look at some more of your questions. Is there anything happening with Ashley Young or Oxlade-Chamberlain from Richard Dawson? No, I do believe that was all paper talk, especially the Oxlade-Chamberlain story, which was rubbish by the Sentinel in ours, who have close links to that player's agent and also the club. And also the Ashley Young story seemed to go a bit dead in the water, but both of those stories did come from the Sun. So what sort of establishment are the Sun to sort of trust? Not a pretty good one. Stuart Austin again says, Peter Crouch will save us. His goals made all the difference last season. Love him. Who doesn't love Peter Crouch? And obviously, right now, if you tune in, I don't leave the stream just yet, but if you do tune in to Radio X after, Peter Crouch is currently DJing 7 till 10 this week and next week on the radio. He pulls some absolute bangers out of the bag on Monday night when I first listened. I haven't listened since, I will be honest, but maybe might get him on after we finish this stream. A lot of people saying what's happening with Mbula. Mbula, God knows, it's an interesting one because a lot of people have been rumoured to be interested. Monaco, Roma, Galatasaray, all supposed to be interested in maybe taking him on loan. But he's been involved a lot in pre-season, a lot more than I'd expect for someone who's apparently on the way out of the club. You look at Walshide, you look at Hosselu, they've not been involved as much. Walshide's played a couple of games, Hosselu has been on the under-23s, and those sort of guys you'd expecting to see the door, you're not seeing much of. Mbula's played a lot, and he's played well in a couple of games. So I'm not too sure what's going to happen there. Personally, I'd like to see us persist with him. I'd like to see Mark Hughes train him a little more. Maybe he could get his head down and start this season and get in a couple of games and be that midfielder that we need. Who knows? But we've all seen what he can do. But it'll be down to Mark Hughes for the final say on whether he's staying or not. Apologies for the cough. Ashmold says, what is the in-house garbage that needs sorting? So Arnautovic's brother, sorry, the person who must not be named, his brother said that there's in-house garbage that needs sorting within the walls of the club. Might have just been a comment to sort of get at Peter Coates in the club after we've sold him. Apologies, got a right cough. Let's have a look at some more of your comments, and then we're going to go. Daniel Butte says, Jack Wilshere, what do you think? I don't think we need to go anywhere near that Arsenal scumbag. Robert Robertson says, Sami Nasri is available for 13 million, surely worth a go. A lot of people have actually messaged the page and also mentioned about Sami Nasri. The only problem with him is he's got an impending possible drugs ban. So it'd be a pretty big risk to take him on and then for him to be banned for the whole season, say. So, it's something we probably don't want to go near. And, he's at the back end of his career. Probably not a great attitude, even though he did play pretty well for Sevilla last season. Paul Frith says Gareth Bale is a good player. Undoubtedly is. But I don't think we're getting anywhere near Gareth Bale. Wayne Cartledge says Crouch is currently playing the White Stripes. Again, showing that he's got an absolute great taste in music. Phil Lunt says the club needs to make a big statement in the transfer market. There's a lot of fighting with the fans, especially after what Arnie and his brother said about no ambition. I completely agree, Phil. I'd love us to go and spend a lot of money on a player, go make a marquee signing, or at least bring someone in. We're all hoping for someone at least. But yeah, let's just get someone in. And Stuart Austin says, do you think this is Hughes' defining season? Completely. This is Hughes' defining season, because if he doesn't have a great start, we've got that tough run of fixtures at the start. It could be curtains for Coates if he doesn't. There'll be too much pressure if he doesn't get. If he has a usual Mark Hughes start where we don't have a win for about 7 or 8 games, if that start happens, I fear the worst for Hughesy. I feel like there might be too much pressure from the fans on the club, and especially after the transfer window, how it's gone so far. Lawrence James says, you talk plenty of sense. Do you fancy managing? I do not fancy managing at all. Too much pressure. I wouldn't like all you lot on my back week in, week out. Ry Cooper says, stop slating Berahino and get behind him. I'm guessing he's speaking about someone in the comments, because I haven't mentioned Berahino yet on this stream. But this will be an interesting season for Berahino. He's had a full pre-season behind him now after the sort of unfit stages of the end of last season after we brought him. It'll be good to see what he can do with a big pre-season behind him. He's had a lot of time now to bed in with the club, with his teammates, and it will be interesting to see how he does this season. If he doesn't get off to a scoring start, it'll be interesting to see how long Mark Hughes sticks with him before changing it up. But hopefully he can hit the ground running. He's obviously got his first goal now for the club against Monaco, and he's off the mark, not officially, but he's off the mark in pre-season. Hopefully he can bring that into the full season. Dave Moran's asked me how many season tickets we've sold. I don't actually know how many we've sold. I know it isn't as many as last year. I know that. That's all I know. Don't quote me on how many it is. That's me done. You're all firing in your comments. We could probably be here all night, but it is a Friday. Beers to drink. Peter Crouch to go listen to on the radio. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time.